On the Money Watch today, summer has been the most popular season for having a baby, with August usually taking the top spot. And while they are cute and cuddly, babies can also cost you a pretty penny. Estimates go as high as $240,000, and that does not include college. So the question is, before you have a baby, can you afford a baby? Certified Financial Planner Joe Bert, who I gave you a promotion to Joe the Genius a little while ago, is here to help you plan for this. You know, we were just talking, this is one of the things that goes under the category, things someone should tell you about before you do it.
I wish I would have known.
You know, there's so many things when you buy a house that you don't realize, and when you have a baby, this is one of those things that a lot of people don't think about.
Quick, some interesting statistics. About 700,000 babies will be born between July and August. That's the month for babies. Wow. So a lot of stuff going on there between Halloween and Christmas.
Right. You're right.
Roll back the calendar 9 months and get you right in the holiday season.
So where does this sticker shock, if you will, start with new parents?
Well, first of all, the cost of raising a child today from birth through college, about $1.4 million in today's dollars. $1.4 million in today's dollars.
I need to have a little chat with my sons about being more appreciative of my working.
And that's assuming that you have a healthy baby.
Right.
If you have a disabled child, then it's a lot more. Yep.
So what do you do to plan for this? Because I know you're a big proponent of planning things out.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you have to understand it's going to cost you more on a monthly basis. They say today raising a baby is probably going to cost you maybe another $300 a month in just living expenses. And believe it or not, Tom, half of that expense is usually for diapers.
Diapers.
Those
diapers. I can.
Yeah, it's a huge expense. And what you don't want to do is start taking money out of your retirement account to start covering that expense, because number one, it's going to be taxable to you and a penalty, and you're ruining your own retirement. And if you ruin your own retirement, you're going to be living with that baby that you're raising.
So when do you start planning? Do you start planning the moment you say, hey, let's?
Well, as we said, most babies are born without planning. And, you don't think about it. Yeah, but you have to recognize it's going to be an expense. And then once you recognize the added cost, all right, then what do we do going forward? How do we, if you got two parents working, how do we cover that child care cost?
In the last few years, also, there's unfortunately been a lot of people who have lost their jobs in this country.
Yes.
And so then you also need to start thinking about an emergency fund, right?
Got to have an emergency fund, because when that happens, it really impacts everything across the board. And if you got to buy those diapers, you know, you have someplace to put that stuff. You got to have the diapers. You got to feed the baby and all that stuff going on. So you want to increase your emergency fund if you can. And like I said, what you don't want to do is dip into your retirement account to do that. Cost of child care today is anywhere between $10,000 and $20,000 a year. So you've got to figure that into the whole circumstance.
Right. Let's talk about college.
Yep.
Because it is something you need to think about. And in Florida, we're lucky because we have some options.
We do, but they've cut back on the Bright Futures Scholarship Plan. Of course, we have the Florida Prepay, which has gone up, way up in price, and they've reduced it just a little bit. But the cost of college today is nuts. We've talked about this time and time again. There's a race war, or war going on, with arms race, I should say, in the colleges. They're trying to build bigger and bigger, more expensive dormitories, swimming pools, all the features. But you and I are paying for it, or the kids are paying for it, because college loans are so easy to get. Cost of college is incredible.
So things like the Florida Prepaid and other options that you have out there to pay for it in advance, good idea?
I think it's a great idea, because it'll discipline yourself to put aside the money. Unfortunately, most of us don't have the discipline to do that, but that's really the secret. Set aside a certain amount of money every month and do it on a regular basis.
A lot to think about before the stork comes.
Raising that child is expensive, but remember, the value of that child doesn't show up on your balance sheet.
Exactly.
You have good kids, it's a lifetime of joy.
Joe the Genius, thanks.
All right,